Hey fam, happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm trying to see what's this AE lock. I don't know what that is. I'll check it when I finish. Look, this is the Copeland family. I just wanted to come on a little earlier and talk about some things, right? Not only talk about some stuff, but because I have strength, and I'm trying to keep that word in my head, like rim on the tire's rims. Strim TV is my TV broadcast network, right? So a lot of the videos that I make, I send over to Strim TV, which is a 24/7. They replays over and over and over. I can play them over and over. So every time I do a video, at least an hour. If I do 15 minutes, I'll do about 2. So that'll be a half an hour, right? Where you can watch the talk shows. They are educational purposes to me, right? When it comes back to feeding our community information. Please understand this, family. You don't really have to, but it don't really matter, but I have to let y'all know. As a human rights advocate, we fight for the democracy of the people as a whole, as a human rights advocate. As a civil rights advocate, we fight, it's like the NAACP, for the people's rights as well, but mainly, particularly, Black people. So if you hear me say I'm a human rights advocate, we just don't fight for the rights of Black people. It could be immigrants, it could be Mexican, it can be Jews, it could be Hispanics, all culture. If their rights are being violated, organizations like the Center for Popular Democracy fight for their human rights, civil rights, equal rights, and constitutional rights. American Civil Liberty Union does the same. I did not know that the prisoners have a union, and I can tell y'all now, that fight for their rights, even though they behind bars. And it's considered as they lost all their liberties, but that's not true. They have rights, even behind bars. They have human rights, and that's what a lot of people fail to see. Human rights. You're a human being. You have just as much rights as any other individual. People will make you seem like you don't, mainly if they got more money than you. If they living a lot better than you, they will make you feel less than. That's why you have this systematic system with people of power and authority, and they might feel like they can't be touched too. Yes, they can, because the laws applies to everybody. But now when you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, it can kind of work for you. But guess what? When you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody of somebody, it can actually come up against you. No matter how much money you got. No matter how famous, no matter how popular you're well known. I know that because of the field. Now mind y'all, let me make this clear. And I always do this to show you that my life wasn't always like this. I tried to hustle from a very, very early young age. I started smoking weed at 11. I started drinking at 13. I started snorting cocaine at 14. We called that the rich man high. Come on, I'm 14 years old. 15 years old. I started shooting dope and cane. And don't think no doctors and lawyers and judges and all of them didn't do the same. Their profession and their getting high was on two different levels. But then at a point, they had to give it up because it was taking more control over their lives. And they was losing control over their professional responsibilities. So when it gets like that, then it's time for you to get some help. In the beginning, it's fun, you enjoying yourself, you know, getting high, you doing certain things, but then after a while, it gets out of hand. That's when people have to realize that they are addicted. I was going to say addicts, but they are addicted to whatever substance abuse that they're using. Oops, did I say abuse? Because that's what started happening. We start abusing it. We're simply taking control of our lives. Now, I can only share that with y'all because I've been through the process. Now having 33 and a half years clean. January the 26th, 2017, if I be here to see 2017, 2027, if I live to see that right, I'll have 34 years clean. I never, remind you now, I could get clean. It might stay clean for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, something along that line, right? But I never knew that you can get clean and stay clean for 365 days a year and more. I didn't know, but now I can say I know. And see, I don't go back and say, oh, I'm gonna go drink a little of this, or I'm gonna go do a little of that. No, I don't play games with myself like that. But it's a lot of people with clean time from dope and cane and all of that that made the decision to start drinking. But they call it being sociable. I can't drink. I can't drink. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Thank you, God, because I never thought I would stop drinking. 6 months before I stopped shooting the dope and the cane, right? The desire for the alcohol was lifted from me. I was shocked. I was shocked. 6 months. Matter of fact, it just made me think about this. My brother got killed that January, I think. Wait a minute, I might be off with my timing. But he had got killed that year, earlier that year. And I got clean after that with the alcohol. But I was still doing the dope and the cane, right? 6 months later, because I got clean in July. Make sure I'm calculating it right. If I'm calculating it wrong, go back 6 months from January, right? I had got clean like 6 months from the alcohol. And then 6 months later, the dope and the cane. But I put them all together, clean time-wise. See, I've been clean a day at a time for 33 and a half years. From everything, right? But now, I'm only sharing that anytime I open up my mouth to say stuff like that, family, I'm only sharing that to try to give other people a sense of hope and encouragement who might be caught up with certain things, just helping them understand that you can, leave those things alone. Now, for me, I tried on my own. It didn't work. So I had to scream out and ask God for help. So it happened, I was guided to Total Health Care, right? And I talked with a counselor there. She was the one that gave me a list to go to like an AA meeting. But now keep in mind, my desire for the alcohol wasn't like it was. So it was like I couldn't relate because I was clean in that area to what they was talking about. But when I went to a NA meeting and they was talking about the word addiction, now I related more to the word addiction, because it wasn't just alcohol. It was dope, it was cane, it was sex, it was food, it was lying, it was manipulating. Thank God I didn't get caught up in the gambling like I hear some people talk about, stuff like that, right? But I understand the obsessive and compulsive behavior. So whenever y'all hear me talk about, being an addict, I'm not ashamed. The reason why I said I'm not ashamed to say I'm an addict, because what I'm saying, I have an addictive personality. One is too many and 1,000 is never enough. And when I say I have an addictive personality, it's like I feed more into the desires of my flesh. Just messed your head up, didn't I? Just messed your head up. Because it's my flesh that craves a lot of time for what is wrong. That's why we get caught up. I can lay with one female, and my biggest fear, I get caught up with that thing, I'm gonna go get another one, then another one, then another one. I've done that, so I know what I'm talking about. So sex is a big addiction for me too. Food used to be a major one too. I was looking at my birth certificate, I was 8 pounds when my mother had me. I was 300, the highest I got, and I weighed myself, I was like 325. But I had probably lost a little weight to get to 325, down, because I know I was bigger. But I know my highest weight measured 325. And that's when I found out I was a diabetic. So I was basically in the process of losing weight. Now I'm under 200. Look how long it took. So basically, anything, family, that I have experienced in my life, I use my personal experience and I talk about those things of overcoming. Why? Because if I can encourage and inspire and motivate someone else with my story, that's why I do it. Because there's somebody out there that needs to hear we do recover a day at a time from emotional, mental, verbal, physical abuse. Mental, emotional, verbal abuse. That's what we need to help people understand. If you is dealing with anxiety, you dealing with depression, you dealing with schizophrenic, you dealing with personalities disorder, you're dealing with psychological issues, period. There are ways and means. I want to say to be healed, but it's work that comes along with that. You got some people that get on meds, right? And they take their meds and they start feeling better. Then they get to the point, I don't need this no more. That's not true. Because you have to keep that balance, that mental balance. It's a chemical imbalancement within the brain. It talks about the dopamine. It names a few other things that's brain-wise. So you have to use these things, medicine-wise, to help slow your speed and brain down. That's what you do. And because I understand that very well, dealing with people with mental issues, I will suggest to them to get the professional help that they need. I feed them as much as I can spiritually. But if I see you need to be medicated, I will suggest for you to get it, just to slow this down some. Okay? And when you stop taking it, it's going to start rushing again. Look, I love y'all. This is almost